Growing up, I never really had any passion for anything. Although I've always loved video games. I remember after kindergarten, I would sit down in front of the TV with my older brother and play a variety of video games on our beloved PlayStation 2. My exposure to video games at such a young age has impacted me until today. But unfortunately, there has never been a single spark of passion. I'll admit though, I have dedicated over hundreds of hours into gaming and even played them competitively, which I know is a major red flag. But no, it never developed anything more than a form of escapism. Then there was my love for football, which was on its peak from year 3 up until year 9. From being an epic gamer who loved playing football games, to finally being a part of a football team in my previous school from year 7 and only until year 9 due to the pandemic. For the longest time, I believed that football was my passion. However, I can vouch for myself that that isn't true, as football has landed a much worse fate than video games, as I don't even associate myself with the sport anymore. 2022 World Cup? I'm sorry, I really couldn't care less. I was pretty much directionless. I mean, I've got nothing to do with my life. I was just there. Then I decided to pick up the guitar around the summer of 2019. It was a horrible, run-down classical guitar that my dad actually got for free when he bought his beautiful acoustic Ibanez, which I was actually banned from touching because he was too paranoid that I'll break it. And just like everybody picking up an instrument for the first time, it sounded quite ear-splitting. But regardless, there was the need to invest time and effort into it. And just as I was setting my feet on the stone, my mom knocked it over and broke it on an unfortunate afternoon of 29th August 2019. See, Dad, I didn't break anything. Your wife did. I will never, ever forget that day. And right then and there, my hopes and dreams of becoming a rock star has been shattered. Just kidding. From the next day onwards, I started to secretly use my dad's guitar until I got my very own later that year. For months, it was great. It started from your generic strumming, to fingerstyle. Oh man, I loved fingerstyle. I thought I wanted to be a fingerstyle guitarist. However, around a year later, I hit a wall, and all this joy and all this progress that I have accumulated has eventually come to an end. And once again, I felt directionless. I realized I felt this way because there were no certain artists that I liked. There were no certain fingerstyle guitarists that I looked up to. I just really liked the technique, and that's about it. You can only go so far with the technique, right? Then there came a fine morning on the 30th of October 2020. A masterpiece of an album was released. It was Bring Me the Horizon's EP called Post-Human Survival Horror. It was a succulent mix of metalcore, nu metal, and alternative rock. And listening to that for the first time absolutely blew my mind. And that's when I realized that that album was my turning point. The floodgates had finally opened to a new dimension where I am able to find myself and find what I truly love: metal music. That album encouraged me to hold a pick for the first time. And let me tell you, it was revolutionary. I mean, sure, I only know how to play like two Bring Me the Horizon songs, but that album allowed me to venture into the beautiful world of metal music. From not knowing how to hold a pick to trying out power chords on my acoustic. It kind of sounded like this. Not that great, right? It really takes away power from power chords. Then I was finally able to convince my parents to buy me this electric guitar. And trust me, that was a struggle on its own. But having an electric guitar in my possession has allowed me to play things like I realized I found something that I was passionate about. I found something worth pursuing. I found something worth dedicating my time into without dreading every single second of it. I found something that gave me direction. And most importantly, I found something that made me so, so happy. Other than just making me feel like I'm on cloud nine, learning how to play metal has taught me many things. And one of the most important lessons that it taught me was how to do a corpse grinder windmill headband. Now, I'm just messing with you. It's actually discipline and patience. It's quite cliche, I know, but hear me out, all right? Let's take this sweep picking lick as an example. Sweep picking is a commonly used technique in metal music, and it requires a lot of discipline. Because in order to progress, I basically had to glue myself down to the chair and play the same thing over and over again, despite being in so much physical pain. But I know that without discipline, I would have given up. And there is no way I could make any progress either if it wasn't for patience. Because I have technically become a human broken record by playing the same thing over and over again and hearing the same thing again and again. And it is too easy to get impatient and completely lose it. But no, I wanted to see progress. Therefore, I needed to stay patient and I needed to stay disciplined. Learning to be a metal guitarist is obviously not easy, right? It's actually quite brutal. And no, not brutal in the sense that, yeah, heavy metal, that sounds brutal, bruh. More like I'm in physical pain all the time. But regardless, there was the need to invest time and effort into it. And I fell in love with it. And I don't think I'll still be holding this majestic piece of wood if it wasn't for the love, the discipline, or the patience. And of course, you can apply these factors into anything you decide to pour your heart into. But the passion, the fire, it has to be there, or you'll go nowhere. And before I go, I will play a little riff that summarizes how listening to metal and playing metal makes me feel. It's open to interpretation. Thank you.